We acknowledge and respect the traditional custodians whose ancestral lands we are meeting upon here today. We acknowledge the deep feelings of attachment and the relationships of Aboriginal peoples to country. We also pay respect to the cultural authority of Aboriginal people visiting or attending from other areas of South Australia and Australia present here. And now I will hand over to Hayden.
Thanks, Abigail. Appreciate it. And once that goes away, I shall share my screen. Beautiful. Is that presenting all okay on your end?
All good.
Wicked. Awesome. So, I mean, in past sessions that we've done this, I've run through a little PowerPoint and a few other bits and bobs. Now, I think because we've only got a couple on the call today, I might just dive straight into the platform with a few top level things. So the first being that, as Abigail mentioned, my name is Hayden. I'm the resident South Australian ClickView advisor. So basically my job is and has been for a number of years now to go into schools that utilise ClickView and make sure they know what they're doing with it. And obviously with the department enterprise agreement that's kind of happened, well, there's a few more schools for me to go and visit now, which is always nice. On the agreement side of things, as a teacher, there's probably not too much that you need to sort of worry about. Anyone who's sort of watching the recording, you may or may not have had ClickView before, or may now have ClickView. The general process is going to be you log into EdPass, click on the ClickView tile in the app section, and it gets you into this wonderful platform. At a top level, if you haven't used ClickView before, it is a video platform. So it's like a Netflix for schools. Essentially, we either create content ourselves. So we have a production team in Sydney who do all of our animations, production team in Melbourne who do all of our live action stuff, and we put that onto this platform. But we also collate resources from a variety of sources, TV, that sort of thing. The BBC is another great example of a content producer we've worked a lot with. And just an example, I did see when I got home this afternoon that the first episode of the First Inventor series has been added to the platform. I know that's one that a few schools have reached out to me for and sort of said, hey, is this going to be on ClickView? So that's an example of something we get up there. And what we do is we add in resources, we add in tools, we add in features to make your use of video in the classroom, suppose a little bit more particular, a little bit more nuanced, and really make sure that your students are learning the most when you are utilising that video in the classroom. So what I've done is I've logged into my ClickView account here. This will put you on the dashboard. It is your home page. Really great place to sort of stop and have a bit of an explore. You can see we've got some new releases from ClickView here. So some stuff around the people of World War II here. And yeah, it's just a really nice place. If you do want to go in and click on the new releases here, you can kind of see what the most recent videos are that have popped into ClickView. And as we scroll down, we'll have widgets, we call them. You can call them playlists, you can call them whatever, but they're kind of topic areas where we collate the best content of ClickView and sort of put these events into a place where you can utilize the videos and grab that content very, very quickly. This button here, search by curriculum, I also find really handy. You may, depending on your particular setup of ClickView, need to complete your profile before this will pop up. But if you click on the search by curriculum button here and then wait for your internet to load, you can basically go through here and pick your subject areas and it will go right down to an ACARA code. So for example, let's go English. Let's say we're teaching some year 8s. Let's say we're teaching the literacy strand. Now, of course, along this pathway, at any point you can stop, have a browse, see what's going on. There's still 2 pages of stuff here. So what we're going to do is go down to the substrand here. And as I mentioned, you can dive right into a particular ACARA code. So you can see here, there's 4 videos specifically linked to that 1736 code that we can kind of look at utilizing. So really, really good from that perspective. It allows you to sort of dive in. If you're not sure what you're searching for in ClickView, you can go, all right, well, I know what learning outcomes I need to achieve. Go down this pathway and dive into the detail there. The great thing as well is we're also updating this to be relevant for the latest version of Akara 9. So we're actually going through the process of any new productions that are coming out will be obviously directly aligned to those new curriculum outcomes. And then any content that we've got in here already will be moving over as we sort of dive into the content and work through it. The other great thing is if you do find a video in here and you're not 100% sure, you don't remember what the curriculum links are, you can go options, view curriculum links, and you can actually see how it's aligned with all that detail as well. So very, very easy to be able to utilize that stuff here. Now, not every video in ClickView is going to have curriculum links. Of course, we've got about 150,000 videos in the platform at the moment, I think. So lots of different content on here. You see some of your movies and things like that probably aren't going to have curriculum codes, but obviously as a teacher, get out of a lesson. So if you find a video that works, don't let this be the be all and end all of your content here. You can obviously dive in and see what's going to work for your particular class and your particular circumstance. Now, what I tend to do is when I get stuck in ClickView, or if I get to a certain point, I want to reset everything, I'll just press the big ClickView button in the top left. You can also click on dashboards and that will just take me back to the home page and kind of reset everything. Now, the next tool I want to talk about is the keyword search. Going to be boring. I've probably done this search a few times for Abigail, so she's probably sick of it, but we'll go into Shakespeare just because it gives us a good rundown of what we can sort of do in terms of searching and breaking things down. Now, with that Shakespeare search, I'll just move the camera so I can see what I'm doing. We don't want to hit enter straight away. And I generally say this with most searches, you're going to click enter and you're going to have 500-600 results. Not a great use of your time to work your way through that. So the first thing you can do to filter a little bit is actually pause, and it will give you a bunch of extra options with that search. So it will give you the ability to add something onto the end of the search to make it a little bit more particular. It'll give you some videos that align to that keyword search. So if you're after a movie or something, you can dive straight in there rather than worrying about clicking enter and then finding it in the list. And this series section here, I think is really, really powerful, because if you are searching for, say, behind the news, say Game of Thrones, I don't know, something series related, maybe not Game of Thrones, but you get the idea. Maybe it's Mythbusters, right? You can click on that series and you get everything listed in production year. So what that means is rather than having episode 5 here and then episode 15 down there and it's all over the shop, you go into this series listed by production year, you're going to be able to find something that's more recently been uploaded really, really easily that way. Now, if we do decide to hit enter, and in this case, we've got 457 results for Shakespeare, we can filter by using these filters on the side here with the keyword search. So this is just another way to break it down a little bit more. So here we can see we've got video sources. Now, essentially, this is where the video is actually being pulled from in ClickView. Yours will probably look slightly different. I know in the case of open access, you'll have your own school library here, just like I've got Hayden's training library. You're going to have an open access college library, but you may have a school library, you may not. What everyone will have is a primary or a secondary library, or both. You have an exchange, which is essentially all your movies and TV shows and documentaries. And this primary and secondary library is all the ClickView content that we produce and curate. So that's the difference between those. And then the final thing you'll have is a workspace. So those are some key things that you will definitely have when it comes to your ClickView search. So the difference is obviously the content that exists within those libraries. However, it's also worth noting that if your students are logging into ClickView, same way you'll do it, just through EdPass, you click on the tile in EdPass, they won't be able to see the exchange. And the reason for that is we don't want you to be in a situation where you're sharing a video for students to watch on their own device in class or potentially watch at home and for them to go off and watch The Simpsons instead, right? We want to make sure the content that they have direct access to is basically being picked out by our content team and specifically curated because we know schools use that. Now, that doesn't stop you as a teacher from saying, hey, this episode of The Simpsons is important for whatever reason. I actually do want to share that with my students and have them watch it. But it is that stopgap to just say, all right, this is something that actually needs to be specifically picked out by our teaching staff before our students get access to it. So that's that. The categories are essentially your subject areas or topic areas relating to your search, so they may or may not come in handy. But the best stuff here is hidden under a blue button, show more filters. I recommend everyone clicks on this. And the reason for that is it actually allows you to filter your video search by specific features that that video has. And the reason I say this is really important is because it allows you to say, all right, I'm using a video and I've got a purpose for this video. So I want to find a video that fits what I'm trying to use this video for, essentially. In the case of Shakespeare, for example, I may want a nice hook tool to engage my students, and then I may want some worksheets that they can either do in class after watching the video or potentially to follow up as homework, because we all know that students need to be able to shift their learning from passive into active to make sure that that really sticks. Having said that, I do want to play this one in front of the class, so let's go with an HD copy. We'll grab some closed captions as well. Let's grab some resources. So there's your worksheets and other goodies. Let's say PG and below, say we're teaching year 9s. And then you can choose production year if you want or something like that. I'm just going to go short, and that's going to keep everything in my search to 10 minutes or less. And just like that, we've gone from from like 450 results down to 25. So that's going to be a big time save for you, your staff essentially, and yourselves. So yeah, definitely use the filters there. They come in handy in terms of making your searches a little bit more granular. Obviously, we can click on a video and the video will play. Are there any questions about that before I move on? And because there's only a couple of us in the sort of Teams room, feel free to just hop off mute and yell them out.
There's been nothing in the chat, but as Hayden said, feel free to jump in.
Yeah. Beautiful. Looks like I'm doing a good job so far.
Tina, has Tina come off mute?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Hayden, that was really interesting, you showing the filters, because I've never gone down to that one that you said, the bottom one. But that's really handy, like to know that you've got something 10 minutes, and also the resources one too. I never realised that as well. So thank you.
That's all right. No, it's one of those things. I mean, I've done training sessions at obviously hundreds of schools around South Australia and around the country. To be honest, I've done training sessions up in the NT over in Tassie, and you'd be surprised how many schools have had ClickView for 20 years. Teachers who use it every day, and that filter button gets missed. Yeah, there's some updates coming in the future that's going to make that a little bit more front and center. But yeah, it's so handy. It's a massive time save, especially for me. I often have schools saying, Hayden, can you help us out with some videos on whatever topic? And I always go, well, I'm not going to send you something that's an hour and a half long and doesn't have any goodies. So I start using the resources buttons and things like that. It definitely helps. So for those who haven't seen before, on the right-hand side here are your resources, essentially. So we can click on these and they will download. And just to show you an example of what that looks like, this one does come with a great lesson plan book. It's why I often use it as an example when I do PDs. And the great thing about the resources with ClickView, especially the videos we create, we're essentially doing a process. So we're saying, all right, there's a gap in the curriculum here, which we can fill with a great video. And then once we've realized, okay, we can fill this with a video and we know what that video is going to be about and what concepts it covers, then we create a resource that goes directly with the video. There's probably been a lot of times where you've got some worksheets and things you're going to use, and then you've got some videos that you want to use, whether they're DVDs or they're for YouTube or whatever it is. And you know, they do cover the same stuff, but they're not intrinsically linked. With ClickView, you've got resources that directly match the video, that directly match the curriculum, right? So it's a smooth process. And this one does come with just pages and pages of different activities. It's not all multiple choices. They're not all short answers. There's essay topics, there's research topics. There are short answers. There's probably pin the tail on the donkey somewhere in here. There's all sorts of goodies. So if you can't find something to sort of help you out there, I probably can't help you any more than that, but you'll find some great resources in ClickView. Just scrolling down a smidge, the add to a playlist button, I always recommend staff use. So that lives just below the video there. We can click add to a playlist. You can see I've got some playlists here, but I'm just going to make a Shakespeare playlist. I've probably already got one, but we'll see how we go. No, I don't have a Shakespeare playlist, at least with a capital S. And now this video, I've typed that in, press create playlist. That video is in my Shakespeare playlist. And I can tell because it's got a tick next to that playlist. Now, if I wanted to add this video to this playlist, whatever you call this, I would just press on it. And now we can see that video's in this playlist too. Now, the reason I talk about playlists, and I really recommend them, is because every month we're adding 200, 300, 400 videos to the platform. That's videos we produce. It's videos we get from other content creators, videos from TV, from Foxtel, things like that. So it's really easy to find a video one week, and then the next week you go in, you search for it again, you type in your search slightly differently, you do your filters slightly differently. Maybe we've added in 10 videos on that topic, and so it's kind of dropped down the list a little bit, and you can't find that video. If it's in a playlist, which you can find at the top of your screen by pressing the playlists button, you can see that it is super easy to find and be able to utilize whenever you want to. Now, if you want to take things to the next level, rather than just using that as a favorites box, you can obviously create subject areas and things like that. You could even create multiple playlists on one subject that have videos that are aimed at different learning levels to differentiate a little bit. There's heaps of different ways. You can be really, really creative with the playlists. You can also, once you create a playlist, move the videos so they exist in any order for the person who's actually watching that playlist later on. Talking about playlists, you don't have to share each individual video. You can actually share a whole playlist with your students or with other staff members. You can see if I look on the right-hand side here of my playlist, I've got a share button right up the top, and then I've got a share button next to the video. Now, this would be the same. I'll find an example with multiple videos in it. This one here has heaps. So this example here, you can see there's a share button next to every single video, and then there's a share button at the top of the screen here. So if I press share next to this video and give my students that link, they will just go and watch that singular video. However, if I press the share button at the top and share that link with my students, they then have access to those 30, 40, 10, 5, whatever amount of videos you've sort of prescribed within that one link. So it's a great way to keep things nice and simple. Students just go have a one-stop shop for that topic, and they can use it to support their learning on a particular, event or resource. And then, you can do whatever you want with that playlist. Save it for next year, delete it, make some changes, whatever it might be. But it's a really easy way to get a bunch of content into the hands of your students. Popping back into a video level here and scrolling down, there's a little bit more information. So there's a description here. You can basically utilize that to see if this video is right for you in your class. Also really handy if you are having students utilize ClickView as a resource for their inquiry-based learning modules. They can go in here and use this information to fill out their referencing, which is really nice. And the other thing as well is if you're a teacher and you're finding that a particular video really resonated with your students, you can see what series that video is part of, and then pop in there and use the other videos from that series as well. So that may be a good way to find content that is developed in a similar way, covers similar concepts. Scrolling up a smidge, we can go over to the Share tab. Same as I showed you before in the playlist. If I just want to share this one video, copy, put that link wherever it needs to go, and the students can watch that. On the clipping side of things, so we've got a longer video that we want to make shorter. You go to the clips button, again, lives just below the video here, and press the create a clip button. Then basically what we need to do is click these blue bars here and drag them wherever we want them to be. You can choose a very specific start and end time down to the second if you want to as well. So if you want to be a bit more particular, absolutely do that. Give it a title, probably something a little bit better than that. Give it some kind of description as well if you want, and then hit create a clip. And that clip is private to your account. That just lives on your ClickView login. But if I want to share this clip with my students, again, clips, we've got our clip here. We're going to press the share button, copy, paste that link to my students, and they'll just watch that 1 minute segment rather than the whole video. And essentially what that will look like is, if I hit play on the clip, when we get to the end of it, it'll say the clip has ended. And we can either get our students to replay the clip. So it's kind of allows them to dictate their own learning a little bit. They might not have understood the concepts. They might have a few things that they want to ask you, but they're just going to rewatch it just to make sure they didn't miss it in there, so they can press the replay button. However, if you've got some students who maybe really were interested and want to take it a bit further, see what the rest of the video covers, they can actually continue the video. And for those who are happy, they can just log off at that point. So it gives students the ability to direct their own learning a little bit. Or for you as a teacher, you might just create a few clips so you're ready to go, because there's nothing worse than going to play a video in the class and trying to find the right chapter and just, it being quite painful. You can't click on the right spot. If you've got your clip ready to go, all you essentially need to do is hit play and off you go. The other sorry, go.
Hayden, I had a go last week of doing a clip with a movie, and I didn't. What I did was I put in the time of the movie, the start and the end of what I wanted. It was only a little short bit, but it wouldn't save. And I noticed you showed us the blue bit. Does that mean then, if you're going to use the first one where you've got the blue lines, on the black screen, does that mean that you virtually have to have the whole thing playing? Would you have had to have all of the film playing in order to get to the little clip bit that you want, or should the other way have worked anyhow?
No, the other way should have worked anyway. It'd be interesting to. That's probably one that I haven't ever heard of the clipping not working before. Probably one just to maybe one-on-one, you and I can have a bit of a chat. Whether it's on Zoom or Teams, or whether I pop out and say g'day, and then we just work through that one individually.
All right, I'll experiment again. Thank you.
Have a play, and then sorry.
Can I just check, when you've done the clip and you're ready to go, that goes into your Workspace, doesn't it? So that's where I could do the sharing from.
Well, 100%. So you can either do it from on the video layer, or live just below the video. The other place, you're right, it does save is there's a Workspace button up here. You've got your clips folder on the left-hand side here, and then you can share it from in there as well. So you can do it from both places. The easiest, if you create a lot of clips, the easiest way to find them is to go into your Workspace after the fact. And rather than trying to save it on every video and go below, it's saved to your Workspace automatically. So that's the best way to find them after the fact for sure. Brilliant. So that's the clip side of things. If you do have any problems, please reach out. That's why we've got someone here to sort out your issues. Now, in terms of searching a little bit more broadly, you can absolutely click on libraries. And in this case, I'm just going to have a look at the secondary library and see what we have here. I might be interested in the personal development content and some stuff around study skills, for example. And I can click through and have a browse. And it's probably worth saying that the content you will find on ClickView isn't just related to core skills. It's not just your maths, your English and things like that. We do have a lot of videos around health and well-being, nutrition, emotions, careers help and interview skills, things like that. So you're going to find a lot of content here. I honestly really love this series here. We did it sort of mid-end of last year. It's about online safety, and it's got a little Minecraft skin over it. So for any kids sort of at the upper primary, lower secondary level, I've had really, really fantastic feedback around that series. And of course, being a ClickView series, it's got all those resources and goodies to go along with it as well. So that's a really good one to check out if you haven't seen it before. What's it called again? It's called Online Safety and Privacy. So check that one out if you haven't before. You can click on the exchange too. However, if you go into categories and start clicking through some of these pages, you'll immediately see there's probably like 60 pages of content in here. There's probably 50 pages here. I know one of these, I think this design technology has about 3,500 videos in it. Not a great use of your time to be clicking through and having a browse. That's where your filters and things like that are really going to come in handy to break that search down and save you a little bit of time and get the results you're after. However, there is this button here if you haven't seen it. Exchange, featured channels. These are teachers around Australia who create lessons, record themselves, for flipped learning generally, but can be used for a number of things, and upload them. Abigail's probably again sick of me saying all the same people over and over again, but Jeremy, assistant principal at Seaview High School, just around the corner from me. Amy Shaddock was at Brighton when she did a lot of these ones. Stephen, not South Australian, but one of the top 50 teachers in the world of 2021, I want to say. Again, I don't know how you get named a top 50 teacher in the world, but he is one apparently. Nelso is over at Kadena Memorial School. Robert, arts teacher at Unley High School. So a couple of South Australians in there, but teachers from all around Australia and also some from the UK as well. So if you want something that's actually created by a teacher, hop into Exchange feature channels. You'll find some goodies, particularly for your upper STEM stuff. So, year 11, year 12 maths, things like that, where you wouldn't typically use a video potentially in that classroom environment. You may one day have a situation where you're away sick and you need to teach your students while you're away the basics of logarithms. Yeah. You have a PE teacher coming in to teach your year 11 or year 12 maths class. Potentially, someone here, Mrs. Murray, has a great video around logarithms that you can play in the class. It's got some worksheets or it's got an interactive to go on with, so you're not feeling like the students are really, not having a great time without you there actually running the lesson yourself. You can also use this stuff as a flipped lesson, get your pre-learning out of the way. Or potentially you may have a student who you've explained something to 562 times. They just don't get it. Well, maybe Mrs. Murray has a way of explaining it in a slightly different way that resonates with that student, helps them move on. So definitely a powerful tool there. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail about the TV side of things today. You can save your own TV shows if you want. We also go ahead, as we've done with this First Inventors show that's on at the moment. We'll go in and save a lot of your 6:30 reports, your Four Corners, things like that, and put them into ClickView automatically. But you do have the tools to go in, save your own programs, get them ad-free, all that sort of stuff. So, definitely dive in and give that a go yourself in your own time. In your workspace, aside from having your clipping folder and your interactives folder, you can upload your own videos as well, which you can see somewhere here. There's me, how to upload universal links for both products. I've uploaded my own tutorials and put them in here. So it's a great place to store your own content, particularly if your school has its own school library. And if that's something that you don't know if that's a factor or not, please reach out and we can have a chat with whoever we need to. So you've got your workspace here, and the last thing I won't spend too much time on today is your interactive videos. You are able to have videos which, on top of the worksheet side of things, actually pause at key moments during the video to have a question pop out. And this is a great opportunity for in-class discussion, or in that flipped learning side of things, potentially as revision, whatever it might be. Students on their own devices can fill in an answer. Again, hopefully something a little bit better than that. Hit the save and continue button. And all of that feedback will get delivered back to your ClickView account for you to basically review, or in the case of a multiple choice question, will actually mark itself. So you can actually just use the data there to make some decisions about how you're going to teach your class going forward, or which students might need a little bit of help and a little bit of attention. So there's a lot of tools there that I don't want to dive into in a basic session. However, what I will say is, if you do want to try any of those out in your own time and you get stuck, top right of your screen, there's a ClickView training channel button. We have a lot of training videos around these basic concepts. For instance, how to make a playlist on ClickView, how to make interactives, how do I know which videos actually have pre-made interactives, how do I use the TV? There's a clipping function tutorial there. So if we went through anything today that you kind of get stuck on, dive into the ClickView training channel. If you want to take things to the next level, dive in there as well. If that doesn't solve your problem, well, Abigail's got my details, and I'm sure the person who sort of looks after ClickView at your site will also have my details. So please reach out to me, either flick me an email or give me a phone call. That's why I'm in Adelaide, to help schools out and make sure they know what they're doing and they're having a great time with ClickView. On that note, I'll go back to the team, and if there's any questions, anything you want me to go over again, let me know.
Actually,
Yep,
would you,
go ahead.
Hayden? Sorry, Hayden. When you first were talking or went to the curriculum page,
Yes.
I had a little box covering it. Can you show me where you've got the curriculum? Search by curriculum. Just there, is it?
Dashboard search by curriculum. Now yours may look slightly. Does yours have complete your profile?
Can't remember.
Yeah, on yours, if you're here, it will say search by curriculum. I'm trying to remember exactly what your setup is. I think yours should be the same as mine, but it may have a complete your profile thing there. If it does have that, just complete your profile, and there'll be a little blue button that says search by curriculum. So it'll be there on the dashboard.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
No problems at all.
I thought that was excellent. You've just expanded all the things that we can do here. This is a bit like Edpuzzle without the kids having to go into Edpuzzle. And it's so easy to get onto here. Yeah,
no, I think, Edpuzzle does a lot of things I actually really like the way Edpuzzle does a lot of their stuff. I think, ClickView does a lot of things very, very similarly. But as you said, especially with the enterprise agreement that we've done with the department, it's going to be really easy for everyone to log on. And there's probably a lot of great stuff to actually come in terms of what we can deliver in terms of resources that sort of meet the department's learning goals as well, what we can trickle down, and the types of training we can do going forward. And again, all the resources and videos and things like that are made in Australia for Australian schools as well. So that's a big win too.
Excellent. Thank you for all your efforts.
No problems at all. That's what I'm here for. I will stop presenting on that note. And I suppose if you do run into any hiccups, Tina, please just flick me an email or give me a buzz.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you, Hayden, for a great session. And hopefully you got some answers, Tina. If you do find you've got some difficulties with that clipping again, please feel free to reach out. We will send a link to this recording either tomorrow or early next week, so you can watch anything that you might like to rewatch. And with some details as well around Hayden's contact details and more information from the department.